Hello, everyone. How are we? I was running late, so I decided to reschedule, and then I thought you guys are all in here chatting, so I may as well disregard the rescheduling and come on in when I got organised. Sorry, I was late. I'm trying to catch up with everything, but it looks like you guys are all over it. I've just watched a bit of Jodie Sue Brown's video that's on True Crime Commentaries channel and dying to see what it's about. But for anyone that's in here who doesn't know me, hi, I'm Sharon, and hello to Crime and Justice, Emerald Flower, Josie, Crime and Justice is in here. Hi, Shannon Peach. Barry, oh, you've changed your name. That's easier for me to say, and it's so cute. I'm trying to read all the comments and catch up in the chat with you guys. Yeah, my sort of first thing was when I heard that she'd done a video was, why has it been 3 months? And then she decides to talk, but I think what's caught her out, hey, Emerald Flower, is the fact that she's now out of Ben Hill Road and she probably feels more comfortable from what I can gather. Hi, Sandy Ridgway. I'm glad you're in here. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. So has anyone listened to the whole thing? It goes for about 3 hours, I think. I don't know if the whole video is of Jodie Sue talking that whole time or whether it only goes for a little bit and then, but I have emailed Penny and Scott to see if it's okay if we have a listen to it, because I'm not sure if it was a direct video between TCC and Jodie Sue or whether it was something Jodie Sue uploaded on her own, but I can't find the source of where it was posted to if it's not just TCC's video. I'm just a bit confused with that. But I've asked permission from TCC to see if we can play it over here. Hi, Sky Z. There was another one I missed up here. Abigail Redman, welcome. No, that's Chasing Justice, Abigail. He's been absolutely horrendous with her, and I'm so happy that she is standing up for herself and not taking his crap and giving it back to him, because that guy needs to go. Absolutely, Abigail. Let's bring Summer home. A lot of people have left a few comments that they're not happy that the attention was taken off Summer for Gabby. I don't look at it like Summer was ever forgotten, not in my situation anyway. I've even got chills now just thinking about the both of them. You know what? I don't get how one victim can deserve more over another. I totally get everyone's perspective, but at least Gabby's case was solved quickly. Not solved, but at least she was found quickly. And I've never forgotten about summer. And we need to work out a way, guys, to make some more noise about summer, because it's going way too quiet. And it's not just because of Gabby's case. Is it because Don Wells has gone quieter on social media? You know, it just makes me stop and think whether law enforcement have really been monitoring these social media lives he does, and surely he's tripped up 100 times in there that they brought him back in for re-questioning. Like, there's no updates from law enforcement, there's nothing said, no one knows what's happening, and it's just 3 months is a long time, and you would think they could update people on where they're at. Yeah, there definitely needs to be more done. Here we go. The usual daily, sorry, happens every single time. 10 minutes in or so, the little vocal cords have their spasm. Hi, Kimmy Jean. Yeah, it goes for 3 and a bit hours or something. I had it on 1.25 speed because I can't listen to things that are on too fast a speed because my brain can't handle that. I get all anxious and I don't like it. So yeah, I sped it up a little bit but I still only got 15 minutes in, and I thought I better come on. Abigail says, I believe the story Candice and Dot told us about the 15th. I believe everything from when they came home that day was a made-up story, a lie. Yep. I'm pretty sure the rest of the country feels the same way, Abigail. Yeah, Josie. They are cousins. And it's surprising who is related to who. And in that thumbnail, you know how we've been discussing Mr. Barrett? On the thumbnail of this video, the guy standing directly behind Candice with his hand on her shoulder, like in that little cult worshipping whatever that is, because to me that blew me away. I'd never seen anything like that in the modern world right now. The hands on each other and the chanting, and that was just too much for me. But the guy in that photo, I'll see if I can share it. The guy standing directly behind Candice with the blue shirt on. Oh, this is annoying. I'm going to have to share my whole screen again just for a tick, guys. I haven't worked out how to do it without doing the whole screen, just with pictures. So this guy here, see this guy here? This is Mr. Barrett, the commissioner guy. They're all linked. I'll just see if we can, no, not that one. No. We'll stop sharing that. But Timmy, Robin, Mr. Barrett, there's a whole heap of them that are linked, whether it be by blood or the church or the theatre. People don't realise, and I don't have the exact, I have to sit down and just do like a little grid of how these people are associated and put it into a slide so we can go over it. The really big guy with the big legs that plays the piano, yeah, it's just too much of a coincidence. They almost knocked Robin's daughter down that day. A lady with a ponytail almost did, and Robin didn't even look after her child. Really? I didn't see that bit. They must have no clue how to find Summer, so they made... Sorry, I'm just trying to check email at the same time. So they made all the outside help leave. Yeah, if I'd watched the whole thing, I would know what she's saying. So I apologise that I'm a bit behind where you guys are at. If anyone wants to come up, just give me a yell. If anyone's watched it and they want to fill us in, just in case we can't play it. I'm just checking the email while I'm talking to you guys. Oh, you're kidding me. Keep saying address not found. Yeah, that one's not found. Please tell me I didn't do it twice. 11:27. I think I've sent it to the wrong address twice now. I'm a Drufus. No, I sent it to the right place the second time. Anyway, I just don't want to go upsetting people if it's an exclusive video just for them, guys. True Crime Commentary put it out this morning. Your Time, Crime and Justice, or during the day. Yeah, I'm happy if someone wants to come up and give us an overview of it all. I'll put the link in the chat. And I trust you guys, no one's going to porn bomb me or anything. From what I've seen, she looks really remorseful that, hi Marie Olsen, that she has waited so long to say something. I'm just annoyed that I haven't watched the whole thing and I can't get into it. Like I can't give an overview over it because I haven't watched the whole thing, which is really slack of me, guys. I was going to stay up all night and because I had this really bad gut feeling that they were going to find Brian in the bush during the night, and I was going to stay on the news live stream, and I'm so glad I did because apparently they started pumping water out of swamps and things trying to find him. Like, that guy is not in the bush. I'm not taking the focus off Summer here. I'm just giving my opinion. I don't believe he ever went there. And yeah, I seen in your chat earlier, guys, you were saying that Brian went on a little camping trip with his mum. after he returned home. Like, these people are not normal. That just blew my mind. Where's the what at, Sandy? The video. It's on True Crime Commentaries channel, and I've emailed her to see if we can play it. It does go for a long time. But to me, it doesn't look like an interview type thing that Penny has done directly with her. To me, it looks like a video the lady has actually posted somewhere. Right at the beginning, it shows Penny shows a full screen, a full viewing where you can see this Jodie Sue Brown's name at the top. And I've searched on everything and can't find the individual video. But you don't hear or see Penny talking either, so I didn't know whether it was a public video this lady's posted up somewhere or whether it was an interview with Penny. They must have got rid of evidence. You know, they took the camper and didn't bring the camper back. They think the parents' camping trip was to plant stashes of necessary materials. Really? That would make sense, Liz. Wouldn't it? Never thought about it like that. You can tell I'm not a true out in the woods type girl. Like little kits everywhere to keep him. Yeah, that would make so much sense. Well, there you go. Now I've changed my mind again. Brian Laundry. I'm just reading. Yeah, that's what they're saying on Facebook. That's what they think has happened, Liz. That they've gone and planted stuff everywhere, so he has supplies. But my granddaughter has been doing some little searches in the background, and she's noticed, and she noticed this before it even went on social media yesterday, our time, and his Instagram, was it his Instagram or the other? His Spotify playlists are changing constantly. There's songs being added and deleted, as well as his Instagram posts. In the Instagram posts, she's got screenshots of where comments are on and then comments are off and then comments are back on again. Like, it's really creepy. But if he is out in the woods, surely his phone would be flat by now. Oh, he wouldn't have his phone on, would he? I don't know. But he has access to something, you would think. And they think that, have you all seen the fake Gabs Petito? That's Instagram, isn't it? Yeah, it's a fake Instagram account that is virtually saying don't harass Brian or his family. It's sort of said from Gabby's mouth, this is before she was found, saying that she needed spaces. Everyone's seen them. And that girl on Twitter has worked out that she worked out how to get into the Gmail account attached to that Instagram account. And the last digits of the phone number for that account are the same as Brian Laundrie's mother's account. And I thought that was insane as well. Yeah, I do too, Shannon. That's where I was going with that in a long way about things. And I also seen when I woke up that Sweetie Pilo has posted, oh my God, guys, I know a lot of people don't like it, and the Donna Serafina, has anyone seen that today? This was done before they found Gabby, and it blew my mind. I don't have much of a mind left because it blows up all the time. Yeah, I did. It only goes for about 28 minutes or something, but oh my God, Kimmy Jean. If anyone's really objectional and doesn't want to hear it, I won't play it. But she, like, you've got to remember that she does these things before, like, she does her sessions. She done this prior to Gabby's body being discovered. So now that we know where she was discovered, we still don't know. We know it's been confirmed yesterday officially that it's a homicide, but we don't know the manner, the cause of death. So when you listen to Donna Serafina talking about everything that led up to that point, it is spot on with everything. Like, she's 100%, but she doesn't release them. Sweetie Pilo has a better way of explaining it. She'll do it when the person's hasn't been discovered yet, and yeah, then you can see for yourself how accurate she was. No, Jeannie, nothing yet. I just don't understand why even the shares have gone quiet about it all. Maybe they've had another bust up. You know, like, even though Donald's a complete ass and all the rest of it, it seems to me that even that bit of attention, whether it's good or bad attention, it's still people talking, you know? And I don't like him or the shares or Kent. I don't like any of them. But people, it's still keeping conversation going, and everyone's still talking about Summer and stuff, even though it's about him. So it's just frustrating. But yeah, I think law enforcement need to come out and talk to everybody. And that was Scott H's channel. So one of our people in Discord this morning, your time, or during the day, your time, has, I've only caught the tail end of this because I was driving and in and out of a shop and stuff, but she's contacted the Civis Bank, and they've got screenshots and everything to inquire about the refund, the reward fund, and they didn't know what she was talking about. And that was like, wow. They didn't know who Tim Coop was. Whoever answered the phone. I don't understand. Oh, Luca, you're here. That was you. I just didn't want to say your name in case you didn't want me to say your name. I wasn't trying to shade you or anything. I just wasn't sure whether it'd be okay to say your name. It was you. So you called and they, because I was in now the car, I had an earbud in and I was trying to read and listen, and I missed the tail end of it. And the people didn't have a clue who you were talking to, didn't know who Tim Coop was and anything about the reward fund. My God, how does that happen? Yeah, of course. And that was another thing I was going to talk about today, actually, was the reward fund, because they said initially after a certain amount of time, it would be void and go to another foundation. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah, we all love summer, Luca. And we all get over an emotional, and we all wanted it. So you still didn't get any information out of it at the end of the day, Luca? Because they didn't know. That's so wrong. Hi, Sharon King. Hi from one Sharon to another. That's crazy to me. The teller said, so this is Luca Vega, guys, and she's the one who actually made that phone call. Thank you so much for popping up, Luca, and letting us know you're here. The teller said she could only release info to people on the account, so I asked if I needed to contact Tim Coop, and she said she didn't know him. Oh, my Lord. That is crazy. And to get hold of Churchill Search and Rescue. Oh, that's sad. Isn't it? No, there is a reward fund, Shannon, and people can still, I presume, donate to it. But the way I understood how it worked was it would only be there for a certain amount of months. I have a very interesting screenshot from a Facebook convo. Awesome. Facebook convo with Churchill. That would be interesting to see too, Luca. Yeah, and then it goes, Luca might be able to put it in better terms than me. But it was only there for a certain amount of months, the way I understood it. And then it gets put back into some other missing children's fund or something. Churchill SRA said he was in charge of Summer's case now, and to get a hold of them. Oh my God. That's really depressing to me. If Hawkins County law enforcement are in charge with all the, oh dear. I'm trying to work out how to say it. So all the money that people have been donating to the reward fund has been accumulated, and it continued to grow. Excuse me, but after a certain amount of time. Okay, guys, so you remember right at the beginning when Summer first went missing in the first couple of weeks, there was a young guy who was going to donate $2,000 from his study fund, and another fella that was going to donate $10,000 or something. The Ainsley Daniel had spoken to them and they said that's what they wanted to do, and then they decided not to because of the fact that whatever reward fund it was, after 3 months, then that money would go elsewhere, not to the reward fund. Like, it wouldn't stay permanently in the reward fund specifically for summer. So that's not the way they wanted it to go. So they went back on their donations. But Luca, that's crazy. And I'm disappointed that, but Don B saying how he's taken that phone call to TBI and stuff, surely there's still the lead on it all over the top of Hawkins County. I just want to know why it isn't being used to entice someone to speak. That's what it's for, and that's exactly right. 1000%. And I can't believe, if it's such a poor area, not poor as in, you know, they can't eat it at all or anything, but if people are really struggling and they know things, wouldn't you think it would be an incentive to put your hand up? I think I was talking to Tim Coop on the Facebook Messenger for Churchill. I'm not sure though. Okay. And it's the middle of the night over there now, isn't it? Oh, wow. Don B said that he's been ringing TBI and he was taking that call to them in person because it was too big of a file to email. They acted like I was just being nosy. Well, it should be public information and they should be able to give that information out to the public because it's a public reward fund, isn't it? 9:24 p.m. That's made me really angry, guys. You have the screenshots, Luca. And yeah, the things and the people, if it is Hawkins County, yeah, I don't know. Guys, this is just a little bit depressing. That's the thing, Carol. Okay, Carrie, sorry. There's so many things going on in that county. That's, you know, the more people are digging, the angrier other people are getting. That's why I brought up Mr. Barrett's name and how he directly is linked to Don and Candace at the vigils, at the church, all them sorts of things. And there's a link. As I said, I will do a slide of put things together so it's more black and white, because it is hard to just verbalize, oh, this, that, and everything else. But there's also links between that play theatre and the church. Hi, Joanne. Public pressure is the only way this won't go cold, I'm afraid. Yeah, and that's why I think we do need to keep it happening and get louder and demand. I don't know how we do that, but if anyone's got any ideas on how we can, like, it makes me so angry that we can't get a huge group to go and protest out in front of. I know that sounds extreme, but look at the media attention, the national media attention that Brian Laundrie's family had at their house. You know, once people are involved and physically making a noise and have their posters and things like that, people do notice. And like right at the beginning, I know Nancy Grace did a story, but they sort of only do one little thing. Court TV did a couple of little updates. But it just never went national or international. Gabby's case was here in Australia from that very first interview where that fella said that, you know, law enforcement went to their front door and were handed the attorney papers. Australian TV was covering it from that minute. And I've never, ever heard Summer's case mentioned in Australia TV at all. I'm sending emails to every national TV station, every missing child organisation I can find, but so fun. I know, Crime and Justice, I did that with Oran and Awesome West as well. I even did reporters like Ainsley Daniel, Nate Eaton, all the ones that I knew of through other cases. And I will give Nate Eaton and Ainsley praise because they answered me and said they hadn't heard of the boys' case, and they would get in touch with reporters in the area of, you know, where Oran and Orson West lived to get them to look into it. And I thought, no, that's not what I want. I want you guys to all be reporting about it in your area so it gets out further and further, but they didn't want to do that. So, but yeah, I did that. I think a lot of people tried doing that. It is crazy that no one is picking up she needs justice. And like, I get it that there's so many other little ones out there that need attention as well. But you also have to keep in mind the three boys, and they need to know as they're growing up what has happened as well, you know. And if mum and dad are involved allegedly, then them boys 100% need to know as they mature. It doesn't help that the parents are not willing to talk to the media. Well, that's infuriating in itself, that they're happy to talk to every YouTuber on earth, but they've only done one, have they? With Ainsley Daniels, where it was Don and Candace. I'm pretty sure. Summer deserves attention and for her name to be shouted from the roof. Yeah, exactly, Carrie. Oh, do they? No, and they have a ton of no trespassing signs up. But they let every Tom, Dick and Harry up there to film. Like, think about how many people they've let up there. Chris McDonough, Cam and Ali, Jamie Wilson. And they're only YouTubers that we know about. But they wouldn't let Juanita up there, would they? The crazy psychic lady. Not that I think she's crazy, you know. I do. I'm open-minded to all that, but some people are just not. Shannon says, how is this happening in this day and age? Corrupt county. And yes, Sharon, the boys need to know where their baby sister is. Absolutely. And like the two youngest ones, Susan Smith, welcome. Hi. The two youngest boys probably can't get their head around everything that's happening. You know, the 7-year-old and 9-year-old. But I'm pretty sure the older son would know more than he's let on over these months. Yeah, people can stand on the road. It's your constitutional right to stand on a public road. But how everyone was at the laundry's house and right up on the grass, like their front yard area, you can't do that. You can't go into their actual boundary, but anybody can be on a footpath or stand on the road as long as you're not obstructing traffic or being a nuisance. You have every right to do that. And I can tell you, if I was in America now, I'd be rallying up the troops, and I would go to Hawkins County Police Station and do a little sit-in or something, because that's going to get media there. And I'm not trying to incite things. I just think it needs to be talked about, and we do need to make some noise. You don't think the boys saw Summer that day, Shannon? I don't know. Isn't it crazy that you can still, after that last bit of information that Summer was asleep in the car or something, and then Candace took off and Grandma woke up 2 hours later after having a nap to Candace saying she couldn't find Summer. Maybe the boys didn't see her that day, if that is how it went down. But I still believe they did make it home, and Summer was running around and somebody hurt her, or there was an accident, and then Candace took off to get to Don to try and fix it, whatever. And then Don's hidden her somewhere. 2 weeks I'm driving to Athens, Tennessee, so I might go to Hawkins. That'd be fabulous, Shannon. Like, this COVID thing just makes things so, things so much more difficult, because I can't get out of Australia right now for a start. And I think it's pretty widespread where you all are too, isn't it? Yeah, well, you would think after this amount of time, the boys would be, more relaxed and able to talk about things. And hopefully they're still seeing, their care person, counsellor that would be helping them emotionally through all of this. And there hasn't been another word said, excuse me, about this emergency court appearance Donald has to make for the gag order. There's been nothing said about that for 2 weeks. What are the Wells trying to hide? Putting up no trespassing signs. I know, Susan. It's crazy. Did you hear that the local sheriff? Yes, I have, Renee. Yeah, apparently they're cousins. That's interesting, isn't it? And there's even So Carly Trent, that was kidnapped by the Simpson guy, it was, so the Lawson is Ronnie Lawson, isn't it? It was a Donnie Lawson that discovered Carly Trent with the Simpson man. Do you see how it's all sort of, it's like a spider web that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And the inbredness in these hollers, I've never seen anything like it. It's intense. And it's like they try to marry up for the money and the power, and yeah, it's crazy. Wonder if calling Hawkins County Sheriff Office and asking what is going on would do any good. Well, I don't think it could do any harm, Crime and Justice, at all at this point, because they're not going to come to the party and talk to people just on their own merit. It really is. Like, I don't even like saying the word inbred, because in this day and age, it's such an old-fashioned type of word, isn't it? But it's the only word that fully describes what's going on out there. Like first cousins marrying each other, and then wondering why kids have intellectual and educational difficulties. You know, it's really, really sad. Hi, Scott H. Has Thoughts. How are you? I sent you guys an email because we were all chatting about Penny's video with Jodie Sue Brown, and we didn't know whether we'd be allowed to play it. So I've just been checking the email to see if Penny had replied, because I think it's really important, and what Jodie has to say, it's crazy. And I felt bad for her. I keep saying it's the wrong email address. God, I don't know what I've done. It's come back to me twice now. Yeah, you guys are doing an awesome job, Scott and Penny. And we all support you guys as well. Like, I'm not on a level where to research and dig like you guys. I do a little bit of digging, but all you guys are just all over it. And we all appreciate it too, Scott, don't worry. And Scott would know so much more about the interactions between families and things too. It's deep how far it goes and how widespread it is. Oh, thanks, Scott. I just don't want to do anything to upset anybody. We have a really happy little peaceful channel over here, and I might have a little dummy spit every now and again about a couple of the channels we're not going to talk about, but yeah, I just want to keep in good with everyone and not. Dr. Phil, yes, how awesome would it be to get Dr. Phil to interview Don and Candace? I wonder, we should do that, guys. That's what I'm saying. If we can get a heap of people out the front of Hawkins County Police Station and demand, Updates even. I can't even remember the last time there was a decent update. And are they quiet just because there's something coming? There's no hint of anything. So, of course, people are getting angry and upset and think it's gone cold and all the rest of it. If they've got things that are moving, people would calm a tiny bit if they knew that. Every family has its own cemetery, it seems. Oh my God, guys, last night I was digging and my paperwork's in the studio. What was his name? Robert Joseph Harris. And he was hung in Hawkins County, like way, way back in the late 1800s. And wow, this news reporter asked the sheriff the night before they hung him to lock him up with this Harris guy overnight so he could try and get a confession out of him before they went through with the public hanging the next day. And it was like reading a novel. I was so into it because it even described who was there. There was about 2,500 people there apparently to watch this happen. And they were drinking beer in the crowd, and it was like a social occasion. And I will go up and get me notes, and I'll come back and do a live just on that because it was so interesting. And apparently the area where this took place was called the Cut. And now it's overgrown and stuff, and historians are trying to, memorialize it as in part of the history. And I just found it all so fascinating. Susan, that would be fabulous. And if we can, we should make a Facebook group or something, and we can all throw in comments and ideas and ways to get some more media attention. But I agree, contacting Dr. Bill would be fabulous. If every one of us do it, and even go under pseudonyms so there's more people doing it. Because he will, if enough people contact him, I've seen him do it with other cases. And he's so good at the way he deals with people. But yeah, I can remember Court TV and Nancy Grace. They're about the only ones, really big ones that I can remember. Yeah, we can do that, Shannon. Go to the contact tabs. Maybe we could tag him in this video. John Walsh is, John Walsh. I'm his brand new super fan. Oh, Emerald Flower's back. These shows are about ratings to networks, so if we are loud and big, maybe we can. Yeah. Like with technology and people power, there's nothing we can't do these days. Like I know physically I can't be there to sit out the front of Hawkins County, but if I could be, I would. And I'd sit there every day until they come out and spoke and give us proof that they're still 100% on it. Yeah, I think it's a lesson to everyone that is concerned about summer that we need to get that sort of rallying behind Summer, for Summer and her brothers, and make a real big noise. because it got it for Gabby. They had every media outlet under the sun in that street. And I'm not saying Gabby didn't deserve it, but those people were angry. And there's just as many people angry and frustrated for Summer 3 months on. And it just makes me also so sad for other kids in the area that are in similar, what's the word, guys? Family situations. Let's just say it like that. You know, because I don't think they'd be the only family that are living in squalor and in a substance abuse focused house. I'm trying to be very careful how I say things, but I don't give a shit about the other adults in these families' feelings about what I'm saying, but like I know just in our situation, taking in our 2 granddaughters and stuff, and I've spoken about it before, and every time I think about the day we actually were told by its Department of Community Services here, but it's CPS over there with you guys. I'd been yelling and screaming at them for over a month that the girls had to be taken away from their mum. And I'll own that because my daughter wasn't being a good mum. And she was having substance abuse issues. She wasn't brought up in that environment. Like, we were just blown away that our 2 granddaughters were in that situation and we weren't going to have it. Like, and that's why I don't get grandest. But there are a lot of people who turn a blind eye and, you know, it's just too much for them. And they would rather carry on in their own little world than help these kids. And I can only imagine what sort of life our 2 girls would have had if we just thought, oh, well, that's not our issue. You know, our lives as, you know, older Nan and Pop, we're not Nan and Pop. We've been robbed of being their Nan and Pop now, because now we have to be mum and dad to them. And there's that specialness of hanging out with Nan and Pop and all them lovely little furry Nan and Pop things that we don't have anymore now, because we've got to discipline, we've got to parent, we've got to set, you know, rules and boundaries. And that's sad to me too. But at least our girls, have people who care enough to, you know, forget about how they thought their life was going and standing up for them. And that's what Summer and the boys need too. They need someone to take it on board and make it about them and not about Don and not about Candace. And that's why I get so bloody angry. You know, I see it in our town. Kids in the same sort of situation. Every town has them, but not a lot of people give 2 shits. They're just too wrapped up in, oh, I've got to work and I can't take in any kids and I can't do this and I can't do that. Well, what am I supposed to do? Well, maybe you're not the right person if that's the way you're going to think. You know? Hi, Care. How are you? Welcome. I haven't seen you before. You obviously know Shannon. Yeah, and that's why, you know, people were in my comments saying, oh, you've forgotten about Summer. No, I haven't. I just felt as a parent how bad I would feel if Gabby was my daughter, and I think I'll always feel like that. But yeah, I don't, as I was saying, every town has them, but I see it here in our town where kids are with parents where their focus is drugs, and they're not even like a family. It's like the mum and dad are just, or whoever, the adults are in that household. The kids are just like puppy dogs that run around and they're not cared for. They're running the streets. And then the kids, that's the saddest part to me. The kids, because they're let go, no discipline, there's no parenting on any level. They're the ones that have lost respect in the community from the time they start school. Because as soon as these kids start school, they're looked down on. So what hope have they ever got if no one steps in? Because in a small community, they're always going to be shaded with a reputation. Oh, that's such and such's kid. You know what I mean? And even that breaks my heart. Where's Summer Moon, Utah Wells? Bring Summer home. Speak up, Don and Candace. Stop being drunken idiots and bring Summer home. I just don't know what it's going to take for them to break. Even Grandis has gone quiet. Are you serious, Renee? My son was abducted twice by his father. I then moved and got involved in the Adam Walsh Foundation in the mid-80s. Oh, wow. It was the beginning of a national centre for exploiting and missing children. Renee, that's amazing. So, if you don't mind me asking, you got your son back both times? If that's too personal a question, just disregard me. Second time he ran over you. Wow. It's just, well, I'm glad you survived and that your son's all good now too. Hi, True Crime Commentary. Welcome. Yeah, we were some of the guys in the chat have already watched it, and as I was saying earlier, I'd only seen like 15 minutes, and I tried to email you, but I think it come back twice. I was putting wrong letters in somewhere, surely. It just kept bouncing back to me. Yeah, did you believe her, Penny? Her story? I actually do, and I think, like Scott was saying, his thing at first was, why did it take you 3 months? And I sort of thought that too, but if you're up there, you're not going to speak out, are you? Now that she's away from that area and all of that, she might feel, well, she obviously said, I feel like I can talk about it. But I haven't watched the whole thing yet. But some people in here have, Penny. And I was trying to email you to see if we could play it, that's all. But I wasn't sure if it was just an exclusive thing for your channel or whether it was a public thing. Yeah, that's how I sort of looked at it too. And she still didn't look, she still looked worried about talking. Yeah, it goes for a long time, doesn't it? I had it on 125 because my brain can't handle playing things real fast, and I don't know what it is. I just can't do it too fast. But thank you so much. I would never play it without asking. Oh, it's on her Facebook. I searched Instagram and all over the place, and I'd come up with every Jodie Sue in the world. Oh, that would be awesome. Sharon King, it's on True Crime Commentaries page. And I'll put the link. Oh, can you put the link in, Penny? Scott? And I'll play it from the Facebook page if I can find it. Or if Penny says we can play it from hers. It's about an hour and 50 in it. Gets the most important. Oh, okay, Luca. No one in my family understand why I'm so overprotective of my twins. How can you not understand? I lost a child. They lost their brother in the hands of their father. 8 years old. Oh my God. Like everyone has their own story. Thanks so much, Penny. I really do appreciate it. We have the granddaughter filling up a water bottle, and it sounds like the ocean's about to do a tsunami, guys. Okay, where is it? Here we go. I had it sitting there, but I wasn't going to do it until I'd heard back from Penny and Scott. And thanks so much for coming in, Penny. I really do respect you all very much. I feel like a little fish in this great big fish pond, and I'm not worthy of everyone. You know what I mean? A little bit starstruck. The second time my son was abducted, he was 8 years old as well. Wow, guys. So you have an emotional understanding of how that all happens. Wow. You guys need to come up on panel in the next couple of days and tell your stories to us, because that's powerful. If you guys are happy with that. Like if you're not happy, if you're comfortable and want to share, I'm sure there's a lot of people that will be here to support you, and you know, it's just devastating. Like I've been interested in true crime from primary school because I was in 4th class, so I was about 9, and a little girl in my class wanted to go to the toilets, and this is in the very centre of Sydney, so it is a city, you know. It's not like we're out in a rural area, but in the middle of Sydney, and she wanted to go to the toilet, and the teacher said, yeah, that's fine, off you go. She's gone down to the toilet and she didn't come back. And this was about, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the teacher sent another child to go and see what she was doing because she hadn't been back in a while. And she was in the toilet block, stabbed 18 times. And I'm sure that other little girl that went to check on her has never, ever gotten over it. She lived, and, yeah, she didn't die, thankfully. But ever since that day, I've always been drawn to true crime and what makes someone go to the extreme that they do. Penny says we're all bunch of little fish in the grand scheme, but together we are mighty. Exactly, Penny. We've all got voices and awareness. So sad, though, what you guys have been through. I really hope so, Renee, because I just can't. It's just not cool at all for anybody. A great loss, yeah, exactly. Prayers to every single one of you. My voice is going because I'm just blown away. Yeah, Penny, that's my whole thing. As from a child, I want to know why. Like even with Brian Laundrie, he seemed to have this evil side to him in his artwork, and I just don't understand. I tried to get the lab to do a call-in show for survivors, but I think he was afraid no one would call. I'm not sure. I think it's a great idea. So do I, Luca. Summer has created a movement for child survivors. Absolutely. And, you know, with the Me Too movement and everything that's been coming for over years, you know, people are so much more willing to talk about taboo topics from back in the day. Like I can remember as a little kid, if I said pregnant in front of my grandmother, oh my God, you were the worst child on earth. You know, little girls don't speak like that. Like what? It's the word pregnant. Like I look back on it now and I'm just like, why was she so horrified that I said pregnant, you know? But it's a different world now. And I think with technology, we should use technology to help as many people and be there for each other as much as we possibly can. And learn, Luca, that's exactly right. Anyway, I'm going to put this thing on because I will keep talking. And Penny, I have learnt my lesson. I played one night, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning here. I don't know if Penny's still here, but I was playing a video. I don't even know what it was now, but I was half delirious because it was the middle of the night. And I just kept talking. And I've left the comments because every single person was like, it'd be really good if she shut up so we could hear the actual video, like comment after comment after comment. But I thought I could just delete the nasty ones. But no, I'm going to leave them there and own it because I learned from that. You know, why take something down just because I got nasty comments? And like some people were even like, STFU. I had to think of what the first letters were, you know. They weren't even nice about being quiet. They were just into me. But I tried to look at it from a funny point of view because they were right, you know. I didn't shut up the whole way through the bloody video, but I'm going to this time. So we'll put it on 2 times speed. I'll go find settings, don't I? See, I had it on 125. Penny says 2 point. We go 175 in the middle. I'm not good at maths either, guys. And I have to share the bloody screen. Jesus. And guess what, guys? I have some exciting little news on my level. I just copied why did I copy the StreamYard link when I was trying to share the screen? Dear Lord. Which one is it? I've got 22 YouTube tabs open. Oh yeah, here we go. just before I start, I might be going on Crime Stories Obsessed channel to chat with her. I got an inbox this morning and I was so excited. And I thought, God, people are going to get confused then, aren't they? There's going to be an Aussie accent and a British accent. But yeah, that's huge for me. I'm so excited to talk to Emma because I'm like a super fan. Okay, we'll play this and I'll be quiet for 5 minutes, yeah? I'll make sure the volume's up. I've shared the sound. Let's do this, guys. And I'll mute out.
On me for a while, especially as the days keep marching on, and I feel like summer has kind of been lost in the shuffle of things. Sometimes even in groups like these, but anyway, we are, and by we I mean myself and my children, were summer's immediate next door neighbors. Were the property that JD was trespassing on. We are the ones that called the police that day, and we are the ones that heard the scream, right? And just so there's no confusion and nobody can say that we are making things up. Let me see. I don't know if it'll clear up, but let me see here if it'll do it with. Anyway, oh, there it goes. There it goes. Yep. See, Pin Hill. There you go. Anyway, that's the ID. That was our address until just a couple of days ago. And we're pretty grateful that it no longer is. As some of you know, considering some of the awesome people in this group that have sent encouraging messages and well wishes and things that, I'm gonna be honest with you, have kind of kept the darkness at bay. I appreciate it. It's helped. So anyway, just want to put that out there. Also, before I go any further, because there was problems last time, I left comments, actually two issues, weeks ago, in an interview that, and look, I'm going to have a hard time using the initials you all use, just because of medical issues, and I'm used to calling people by name, and I'm going to try not to do that, but to make it easier on me, there's going to be something that and there's others I'm going to leave out, because it's not my place to out them or tell their parts of the story, or make it impossible for them to live their lives or to speak for them on what they experienced and what they know. And so there's going to be things that you see that I do that with, if they allow these to be shared. The group admins, that is. But before I start, I would just like to say one of the comments I left weeks ago after Candace and the Mendon interview, and the screen was mentioned. We were kind of outed a little bit, and then immediately upon leaving a comment asking for my kids' privacy, people went and, within seconds, had shared pictures of them. Even to my comment about, my children, because of our situation right now, are going through enough. And I'd rather, and even if we weren't, I would rather that nobody share their information or images. And also the other day when things were mentioned and I spoke up at all, people mentioned my speech and accused me of being intoxicated. That's not the case. I have cancers, and I had, as you can see, a surgery to try to remove one of them that had metastasized. We didn't get clear margins, things like that. Either way, as it stands, I was supposed to have begun radiation again just, I think the 20th of last month. However, they've decided that they're saving it back for the other cancers and things, so we're just kind of watching this one kind of do its thing. But because of the situation and some other out of anybody's hands things, and then everything, I've been on thyroid meds for 5 or 6 months now, since well before Summer had, before she went missing. And it makes, when you're off of it this long, it makes things hard. My body doesn't function correctly. My hands kind of lock up joints, things like that. But it does affect my speech patterns. It makes my mouth heavy, along with where the nerves were cutting here. It hits those centers. So sometimes it does sound, and the more stressed I get or upset, and lately, I'll be honest with you, that's been a lot. And yesterday was not a good day. So today it's a little bit harder for me to enunciate clearly enough for others to understand me or not think I'm intoxicated. but I promise you I'm not. We can do a pickup any day. Anyway, so yeah, and I, obviously no thyroid, but the thyroid meds and not having those for so long is definitely affecting things. And so is our current situation, and you know, yeah. So the stress is real. You'll hear me go back and forth with speech. I'll try to make sure that I enunciate as clearly as possible. Anyway, I'm gonna stop this one here in a second so I can ensure that these will load and share and things, um, and aren't huge files. Um, I just wanted to preface everything with that, so there was some clarification there. Sorry. And I guess here in a second I'll start somewhere, excuse me, a little while before Summer went missing, a couple weeks before, because I think things that far out are important, and my hopes for these are that maybe it helps keep attention on Summer in these groups and people looking for her as they're out and their eyes open, and that she's not forgotten, because she matters. Okay, so like I said a second ago, I'm going to try to start. Excuse me. I'm going to try to start several weeks prior to Summer vanishing. On this particular property we were on for years, uh, not long before Summer went missing, we found out just days before the sale that it was for sale. A piece of it, not that actual property. Um, but there was no signs that went up. There was no anything to let us know that it had been placed for sale or on any realty sites. Um, even though we were told later on that it had been, and that wasn't true. And we kind of know why it was to keep trouble down, because the area, if you know it, you know it. And that particular road is notorious for certain things. And that road is named for a family member of um, my children's father, or yeah, children's father's family. So it's named, yeah. Anyway, and so we knew there hadn't been signs because a lot of his family lives on it further in than we did. So if you are, oh, I'm getting a little lost here. Sorry, a little scattered. Everything for me is kind of a spider web. So if you are looking at Candace's property, our driveways are across the road from each other, and a little corner, like hers is here and ours is here, but we can see each other. And ours is worse than Candace has ever thought about, and steeper and longer. That being said, the news pictures are a little deceiving in a way, because you can't you can't really the perspective's not, living there is different. We are not as remote from one another as it makes it look, but yet we kind of are, and it's not going to make sense unless you live in the community, And I mean, I have videos, pictures that could show you, but anyway, contrary to popular belief, Candace and I, at least, we can hear and see one another from the top of our hill, even inside the house and inside of the cabin that was there. I can hear them, even in normal tones, on their hill. And when you come into the road, our properties, in particular, that property and Candace's property, are like, I don't know, almost like guards to the rest of the road. Right? They're taller, they're higher. Everybody else is built kind of low and in the valley. So our property, y'all, I'm stuck with it for right now. I'm sure people will take exception. Either way, it might happen with the hour, whatever, and the swap off and on with that. It's only been days for us that we were there, so it's hard. Anyway, we can hear one another. We can hear the children playing in the fall when foliage. I mean, even when foliage is up, I can see some of hers. She can see some of mine. Winter, fall, we can see each other perfectly. Like, But other neighbors can't really see us. I can see down to others that I'm going to leave nameless, things like that, and I can hear them as well. The property, and like I said, it's hard for me because I don't speak in present, but it's like I said, it's been a whirlwind. So the property we were on until a few days ago, it picks up sound a little differently than just about everybody else in there. The way the hollow is shaped, the way the property is shaped, I can hear most of the hollow, and I can also hear the main road all the way out to a giant farm that's kind of near another point of interest, and the sounds are like it's right in your face in the yard at the top of the hill. Depends on. And anyway, so back to the property sale. The we found out that it was the little piece, that JD and the whole thing there with the Ben Hill happened, the day before, um, that particular piece, is at the very end in a ridge line, sort of it kind of goes between Candace's and the 125, sort of. It's attached to the 125. But when we found it for sale, what had happened was people started coming up and asking if the house and the main property and this and they're like, and arguing. And at first we thought it was like thieves during the day and people doing like the metal stuff and who knew what, right? Didn't take it seriously. They would ask us, this one for sale. We're like, no. And so then had people arguing with us. It wasn't but a couple days before the actual sale happened. And then there was strange people sitting at the very bottom end, at the bottom of the driveway for this property. Across the road, there's a spot, like a parking spot. And it's a great place to watch this property we're on, and straight up our driveway plus Candace's, and just sit there. But I could see it from. So anyway, I took exception to that. There was all kinds of people sitting there for an hour or two, and as most of you know online, there was a DCS situation next door. And so, but it was so strange that I think at that point I had messaged over and I was like, look, there are cars sitting there for hours because I didn't know what they were doing. And I don't know, always on this hyper alert vigilant status, right? PTSD like crazy. So for the most part, the house remained quiet, at least in my area of it, the cabin, because the time I was going through cancer treatments and the radiation had to be separated, so anyway, and the cabin was a different angle than the house and other parts, so noises were different, things were different for me. Anyway, very particular and all about not being bothered. So any little noise would bring me out even on a regular day. But it was making me like, And so I messaged next door and I was like, are these like people for you? What's happening? They're like, no. And I was like, well, I don't know what this is, but this has got to stop. So I put tires in the way down there so people couldn't park there anymore not long before, and during the period that we thought it was for, like when we were finding out, but didn't know yet that it was for sale. So anyway, somebody happened to come by and have it pulled up on their phone, like a Remax or one of those. And we were like, what? And so we called the realty place and we're like, and they had it wrongly listed as the actual address here that, on Ben Hill, not the piece and parcel that was for sale. It's attached to it. So we called the realty office. We're like, what is happening? People are up here. You've got it wrongly listed all across the internet as, hold on. And also looking at the Remax and, there were so many, especially out-of-state advertisements because they're getting more money out of those in Hawkins right now, especially with people not even being able to view the properties in person. And yeah, so what had been done, I mean, it was almost laughable. We knew immediately there was going to be problems because what had been done was when they came to take the photos, and those, if you live in a wooded area, you kind of know there's a sweet spot, especially for realty photos, that you can kind of make things blend. It goes, between like fall and winter, or you take them in winter, like dead end, and then go into spring. It's, puffery for real estate. It's kind of what they do. You expect some of this, but this was pretty blatant and some of the craziest I'd ever seen. Some of the most misleading. And what they had done was, I think there was like a series of, on some sites it was like 34, others had 44 pictures. They had absolutely trespassed and come all the way up to like where the house, cabin, things like that were, definitely not on the piece that was, up for sale. And had made it look like anybody that didn't know the area or couldn't come look in person. And I don't know, they'd advertised it as rolling hills, and it definitely is not. Like, but they had made Candace's and this property, because, I mean, and the road in between us kind of blends, right? So you can't even tell it's there in the photos. But they had made it look like it was one big continuous looking thing. Couldn't even tell the road was there. And you, in some of the photos, can see Candace's basement door just perfectly. So, anyway, they were definitely trespassing. Most of the photos weren't even of the property that was up for sale. What that piece actually is like the crust of the bank. I think the biggest spot on it really to build is like 60, 70 feet. And it is over a cliff. I don't know how you would manage it, even with unrestricted, just because of, waterways and ditches and the slope and the grade of the land, because even unrestricted doesn't mean, right? And then most of the actual physical property is like the whole 2 acres of it almost is like this, under where the barn sits for this property. You can't really access it. It's like the creek bed and straight up. I mean, you can't do anything with it. You couldn't build on it. You couldn't, even if you wanted to. It's basically just a cliff, and it goes straight down to the creek. It was definitely, and they sold it as is, where is. It was a whole thing. So, anyway, in those days that it was for sale, just a few, And I think we had finally, and they had advertised all kinds of crazy stuff that wasn't actually available there, like high-speed internet and a different power company. I mean, it was wild. So, anyway, definitely wasn't worth what it was going for. I mean, it was, somebody was getting wrong. That's the truth. But, so we knew when it sold, there was going to be issues. And, yeah. So for even before the sale finalized, until it finalized, there were still people coming and going to look at it. People coming through there, and there have been a lot of that lately, especially in the past year. For other properties up for sale, people looking because of the unrestricted land in Hawkins itself. So, and there was many properties up for sale. So there was all kinds of out-of-state people. That's most of what came for this particular piece. There was cars coming and going. Um, the road itself, the things that happened leading up to Summer's disappearance, were a little crazy for all of us, because had these been average weeks and days, any of us could have told you what ant peed in the road. But it was like a perfect storm was created in a place where perfect storms never happen. Um, because for the most part, this is a place you don't come into unless you're invited. This is not a place you stop in for a picnic. This is not a place that, I mean, this is a place if you don't know it, you don't stop in it, and you don't stop after dark, and you're not, this is not, yeah. So, anyway, with very little traffic, I mean, any other day we can tell everybody that had been on that road. But it started with these property sales, and in particular with this property sale for the piece that JD eventually bought and did close on. So, even up until the time that he came, there was still people coming to look, hoping, I guess, that it would not close. And, yeah, I mean, most people that came to look at that piece, I mean, laughed like it's, you know. So, during those weeks, I was given to go ahead by property owners, and you're going to hear me mention Voldemort here in that way. Because I'm having trouble using the name, because of our particular situation, and I mean, there's just something and when I say that, I mean the person I was with and their father. So I was given to go ahead to try to track down the property lines, which was a little strange considering the things we've been through with the years and how. Anyway, so I tracked down the property lines. Most of these people, if you know the community, are kin in some form or other. Most have property maps dating back to 1800s. In particular, this family were some of the first settlers to Rogersville and Hawkins and Beach Creek itself. So, the deed that should go with that piece that was for sale that JD bought happened to be the survey map itself that had been done in 77. It goes with the deed that the last one made. Either way, it was in the closet. So, kind of knew where they're at, but I still measured off. Had the surveyors come out, whole nine. And even in the canter shape, I mean, like, I went and got it done right, found mistakes, make sure everything was lined up, because there's a point of contention. And we knew that in itself would present an issue. So, that whoever showed up, that would be a problem area for the family that owns that. I did my research, and I'll get to that in the next part. However, so at that point, after it's surveyed off, things are done, we just kind of wait for whoever's bought it to show up. And so the next one, I will try to get to JD. Sorry, guys. The more I talk, the harder it gets, the more I have to clear, the more tired my voice and face gets. And like I said, yesterday was a pretty hard day, so stressed. Anyway, so, we think there might be problems because it takes JD a little longer than we thought to appear. However, during this period, I was pretty alert because, like I said, PTSD, hypervigilance, had it all, still do. However, not to the same degree. I realize now that those were things that were extremely magnified for me, and I thought for other reasons until our escape not long ago. So, anyway, so every noise, everything was kind of bringing me out to look at, to make sure of, vehicles, cars, checking on things, survey lines, for weeks, waiting on JD, who I didn't know at the time because obviously had no name, no way of getting, know anything until the transfer happened or until somebody showed up. So, like I said, there was still lots of traffic coming and going, people hoping it hadn't closed or that it wouldn't, or there would be pullouts or, that sort of thing. My PTSD and hypervigilance had been pushed into overdrive. And so I was paying more attention to the traffic and things. And honestly, before we get to JD, I think there's something, because I've seen it mentioned in the groups before, but it doesn't seem to be widespread. And I don't know, or like I'm not sure why it's not mentioned more, but for several weeks leading up to, right, I mean, and even after summer had vanished, there were 2 crews working on a road, tree and mow crew and that sort of thing. But for a couple of weeks, they had kind of solely been on Candace and Donnie's property, like just grinding it down, like I have never ever seen before in my life. Like trees, tree stands, buildings, fences, fence posts. I mean, down to the nub. It was pretty wild, and I didn't realize how bad it was until the day we were searching for summer. And how, I mean, it was. I'd never seen anything ground down like that. So it was like, what? In the, but anyway, it's neither here nor there. But they had spent quite a while just working on Candace and Donnie's, and being over there on that piece. Like, yeah. And so they were in there for several weeks leading up to Summer's disappearance. And it wasn't just like a couple guys. This was dozens and dozens and dozens. It was personal vehicles, it was work equipment, it was chainsaws all day. They would cut out and the noise would stop around 3 p.m. every day. But I had all of our dogs kind of worn out, and just overwhelmed between the traffic for the property sale and strange people, and then all this massive amount of heavy equipment noise. It had just everybody's dogs were tired of it. However, Candace's puppies and dogs are partially part of. I don't know. My dog is partly their dad, but these dogs do bark like we've all said. I mean, they know us. They see us. I can go to the barn door, and they would be like, la, la, la. They can hear me come out of the cabin just a couple of feet and light up. Like, and they know us, but they still. I mean, they look like they have a problem with the barking. And then there's one I had a particular name for because Lord, his particular bark. But anyway, and we were around these dogs and they would still light up. They knew our noises and it was still constant. And they were less wore out than dogs. So they were still barking, they were still kind of themselves. Either way. So for several weeks these crews were in there. There were things I found, a little odd. I mean, I've worked construction, I've worked all kinds of jobs, and as a female, you kind of know how life is, right? No biggie. We know how it is. We all kind of just. But there were several points where I was asked to stop and talk to these guys on my appointments and things, and let them know that if they had cut timber when they got to this piece, that it was to be left laying, not to be cut, not to be taken, because there was already issues at that point with that stuff happening, and people were taking exception, especially with the price of lumber, and so I had some things happen there where, like, I had one of the radiation scans, and I was just wearing like a top like this and some stretch leggings and like a sports bra. That way I didn't have to be in like a gown and more uncomfortable, because for that particular scan you were literally tied together like a turkey. It's not comfortable. So I was going out. I happened to catch what looked like supervisors and things early in the morning. Told them that, but I had a couple pins accidentally dropped several times in a row into a spot to where I have to lean over again, and the entire.
Josie needs a break, guys. Are we all okay? Donwell's mother married onto the Hollis family, not blood. I thought her bloodline was in that area as well, though. Yeah, it is very long. I can speed it up even more, like her talking. But Josie needed a break, so we'll just have a little break. And so she's saying she's quite familiar with their dogs, and they still barked at her. That's always been a thing for me too, is the amount of dogs on that hill. And if there was an abductor there, surely they would have made a racket. I'm not sure, Sharon King, because I haven't watched the whole thing yet, so I don't know exactly what she discloses. Honestly, don't know half of what she's saying. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult, isn't it? I think she's really brave, though, to come out and like discuss that scream and how noises carry and the dogs and the whole situation. Yeah, talk about inbreeding. Curious to hear about the scream. Yeah, well, Luca Vega said, sort of give us a rough timestamp. Hang on, I'll go in here and have a look at where we're up to. So we're 40 minutes in. I'm pretty sure Luca Vega said a minute 50. A minute, an hour 50. How about if we go to 1:45, and then I'll put the link in the description, guys, and we can all go back and watch it at our own discretion on Penny's channel. And that's fair to Penny too. If anyone wants to watch the whole thing, go over to her channel and we can put in the missing bits. And I'm going to do that after we finish as well. Yeah, 1 hour 50, Luca. That's what I'm trying to. I'll go to 150 and take Luca's advice. And we'll go from there.
And I believe she also said she could hear a car too. I could not, but I was further back. Like I said, she was first story, was second. But then we go out onto the banks again, and we're listening, we're looking. We don't hear or see anything really. We eventually go back in. Then I get ready. I start getting ready not too long after that because normal time for Voldemort to get off of work. But then Voldemort texts and says he's going to be running behind, that he's working over. And so somewhere, and I believe around 6, but usually it's all, either way, he was running quite a bit behind. But at one point near 6, and I believe on the phone at 6:09, I'm going around the top cover doorway to start the descent down. By this point, I'm hearing, hold on. So, like I was saying, I'd gotten down, looked into the tile, didn't see Summer. But I went across back over to the left, which is Candace's property, where the other side of the tile is, and that's if you're going out the road, not in. So, cross over, and I start into a spot that's kind of clear, and head towards the creek, because I think, well, maybe brothers have left her behind, or she's fallen off the top of the hill, she's gotten hurt, or, the usual things, right? And we need to find her, if that's the case. Because in my head, I'm like, well, it's been a while since I've heard this scream, this noise. If she's hurt, she's been here a while. So I'm wearing sandals, and I know the best thing I can do is get into the water. So I step into the creek, because from there I can keep tracks down. Because when you live in areas like ours, worst case scenario. You also know what happens if somebody can't be found, and you know that staying in the water keeps scent down for dogs if they have to be brought in. So also it's a good way to check, even though, but with your feet on what's in the bottom and deepest spots. So and at the same time I keep it on the bank going around Candace's, and to the top of the hill. Before I'd stepped into the creek, I could hear the boys go down the left side of their property towards the creek on that side that I had looked down towards earlier. And there was a point there when, I could tell that Candace and the boys had met up when they were hollering for Summer and circling the hill at the top. And Candace was like, to the oldest, was like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And not like an accused her. It was more of, and at the same time, I keep it on the bank going around Candace's, and to the top of the hill. Before I'd stepped into the creek, I could hear the boys go down the left side of their property towards the creek on that side that I had looked down towards earlier. And there was a point there when, I could tell that Candace and the boys had met up when they were hollering for Summer and circling the hill at the top. And Candace was like, to the oldest, was like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And not like an accused her. It was more of a, like, "Did you not have eyes on your sister? Did you leave her behind?" So that, literally at this point, I thought, okay, then I was, like, it is that the boys were supposed to have an eye on her and didn't or something. And So anyway, I'm stepping into the creek. I was, I don't know, not too far in. Um, sorry, this one's trying to snatch the phone cord. And why are there six in the house? They're always trying to snatch the phone cord. Hold on. I had to remind them that there's six others in here. Um, so anyway, Lord, like I said, herd of elephants. So anyway, yeah, as I was looking, went a few feet, in to the water, but, 20 feet maybe from the road. I don't know, maybe less than that. I don't know. Wasn't too far in when I hear a car coming down Candace's driveway and her talking to somebody, which I assume was somebody in the car with her. But as I hear her getting closer, I come back out the creek and jump up out of, and then into the roadway. And she's in Grandis's vehicle, and which, kind of confused me at first because I was like, well, flashed red earlier, and I thought, well, that wouldn't have been the first vehicle in line. If Grandis's was ahead of it, so that's why she's in Grandis's. And so anyway, when she pulls up, she's on the phone with Donnie. With the first thing I said, I mean, guys, I wish I could explain to you. I wish there had been some way for me to take a picture or video that day. Um, Donnie's on the phone with her, and I didn't even realize the time. It just didn't hit me. But the first thing I said, Candace, is I heard her scream, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And then I realized Donnie's on the phone. And Donnie says something like, so you're telling me somebody's taking my baby girl or something. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know, I didn't put it together, enough time, like, right? I was like, because the first thing she says to me is, we're talking together, basically, which is, I'm saying I'm sorry, and she's like, Summer's missing. And I'm like, where's the last place you've seen her? And I heard the scream, all this is happening, I mean, it's just a jumble, right? And her face is so, the tears that, y'all, as a mother, any mother, if you had seen her face, she was sincere. Now, Candace and I and Donnie, it wasn't like we were all like besties or anything like that. I just want to clarify that so nobody's like, we were neighbors. And in the area we live in, you kind of deal with your direct neighbor, right? You don't deal with all of them, you deal with your direct. And so there would be conversations here and there. Candace and I kind of had similar issues throughout the years because it took, I don't know, a good 3 or 4 years or so of us being trapped where we were before we even really met them. We knew they were over there and lived there. But that's how kind of little contact everybody wants with one another where we live. Unless it's an emergency, a murder, or something like don't come on the hill type of situation, right? And anyway, so weren't besties or anything like that. Like cup of sugar, just when the kids need something. Hey, I forgot toilet paper today. We watched the kids for this or whatever that. Throughout the years, I watched them a few times. I mean, even our kids really didn't play together or anything through the years, but we knew each other's kids. The boys went back and forth, the girls did not. If we had messages to send or internet wasn't working or power was out, it's the boys that would come back and forth. Hate to be double standard like that, but up until right before all of this, my preteen hadn't even been allowed to walk to the mailbox because it's that far away from the house. We just, yeah, it's like the mailbox is the only point of vulnerability, really. And I just wasn't going to do that. But it was mostly because of cars, not because I ever thought kidnapper or whatever. And, there are bears and this and the other, but my kids kind of know how to act. And I mean, our feet from them most days. And so it's not really a big deal for us. Wildlife's a thing. They know how to, traverse that world. Because like I said, Ellie Mae, right? So they've been taught. It's never really been animals for me that I've worried about with them. Or even people. It's been that somebody coming around the curve because of the way the road's shaped right there. And then they'll get tops right at our old mailbox. It's super dangerous. So anyway, but Candace and I had similar issues throughout the years and helped each other through those situations. If one of us, she needed a ride away or I needed her to take pictures for me or, so there was things like that. And we kind of kept that to ourselves through the years for obviously good reason. But if one of the kids needed something or, was like cut or whatever, I mean, there was many times that she called me like, hey, do you have, and so, either way, hold on. I mean, we talk at mailboxes. Voldemort would go and chit chat, do whatever. I mean, he was up there far more than I was. I'm, mostly trapped in the box on my side there. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there that it wasn't like we're besties or we hang out or, like that way people understood the relationship here. But as a community neighbor's mother's, um, I know her well enough to know that her face was genuine that day. And I know with what was already going on in their lives, that her calling the police that day was a big step and not something she would have done lightly. And for her to have done so immediately told me that it was serious and sort of that she, like, I still firmly believe she had nothing to do with any of this. And I mean, I've had people almost make me that, like, but I know in my gut, in my heart, that she didn't. If y'all could have seen her face and heard her voice, and y'all understand, I see what the rest of the public does. The same information's out here for me to read and see too. Um, I know, I know certain behaviors make it look really weird and really whatever, and I understand. I get it. I do, and I understand where some people are coming from, and even though for some of it, I get it, and I get the past stuff, and I get whatever. But in my gut and in my heart, I know she didn't. You know, and I just either way. So I tell her I'm looking, and I jump back in to the woods and then back into the creek, and then our other neighbor, who I'm not going to name, had either heard the commotion and was already out, but I heard him and her talking. I don't know if she got him or if he was already out, and a lot of times he is already in, around that time. So I don't know how it happened. I was looking on my own, so I was focused, but I did pick up enough to know that he had joined by this point. And then I look back at one point, and he's pretty close to me. He's still in the road, and he was like, "You want the creek?" And I was like, "Well, you got boots on. I've got sandals. That makes more sense." So he took the bank beside of me, so he could walk it and look for tracks. I could stay in the water and I could look, and that way it kept out on tracks, but covered everything. And so we both walked through, and like I said, the point the foliage was a little different than even just a couple days after. I mean, it was quick how fast it popped up. And then right where this is at, coincidentally, is where the clear cutting started. And it was ground down to mud and dirt like I've never seen before. Even the creek was dammed up in spots. I mean, it was crazy. So I follow the creek. He follows the bank, which is the bottom of Candace's hill, is it the main piece there. We keep in contact when we can't see one another. We're like, "Have you seen any tracks? Have you seen this? Have you seen that?" I'm dragging the bottom of my feet. I'm looking at the mud, see tracks, anything. There's nothing. And he's getting nothing. And we should have had something been through there just because of how devastated it was and sort of how muddy it had been made by the clear cutting. It was very thick, mushy. It wasn't normal like it would have been had they not clear cut. But tracks would have been there and even more pronounced because of it. It was still so messed up that I don't know. Either way, at the creek area though, it wasn't as, you know. Anyway, I get to points to where you can tell that obviously the creek's not been touched. It's stagnant for a pretty lengthy period, even though there had been rain just another two before. Um, and so I could tell nothing had been there in those spots. But I went through them anyway. Felt with my feet at the bottom, looked for tracks on banks, and then I would hop out in places I couldn't get through because they would have been messed up so bad by the clear cutting and stuff. And I would hop right back in on the other side of whatever was and rinse, repeat, right, all the way down through. And the entire time, the other neighbor is still with me, and we're following, and calling back and forth, make sure that we've not found her, that we've not seen anything with each other. I get to the part where they literally have clear cut it in almost a path straight. Like it's clear cut all the way to the main road. You can't. It was wild. But there's a part that comes down almost like a roadway into Candace's property from the main road that they had clear cut everything off of, and it had entirely dammed up a piece. It's near a guardrail, and the field opens up at that point. And I see the boys way off to what is now my left but back shoulder. And at this point, I hear the cops coming. Because down there, you can tell the cops are coming 30 minutes before they're even in there because of the way dogs howl. So you've got quite a bit of warning. But also, I just hear them and you hear the engines pick up. There's two, they come by. And then it wasn't long after that Voldemort comes in, and then Donnie not long behind him. During all this, also seeing here Candace going in and out, the Ben Hill onto the main road for things, but not in long spurts, So then I keep walking my piece, and as much as I can at this point, because they literally taken out the creek. It's one of the wildest things I've ever seen. So Voldemort stuff at one time. I was like, Summer's missing. He's like, I know, I'm looking. So he's driving down the main road. I'm like, I've got this. I see the boys back there. They're kind of squatted down. They're children. And I know instinctively what they're doing. They're kind of playing. And I'm just like, okay, they'll be kids. Either way, I finally make my way to them. I'm almost to them before they realize I'm there. They've been caught. And they stand up. And the oldest, I was like, look, when's the last time you seen your sister? Where did you see her last? And he, and I'm not going to say what he told me. But then he tells me it's been like, a few minutes. And I'm not going to give the exact time period either. And he tells me that. And he's pretty like speaking for the group. And they're a little off, but I figure, well, they're They just got caught playing and still looking for sister, and their friend won't tell them. So anyway, they start trudging back through the middle of me and another neighbor through the field to go back home. By this point, I can see a cop in the back. I've reached as far as I can get without crossing the other fence, and then right back to where I know has already been searched and is being searched by others at the time. And so I head back out towards the middle, almost the same way the boys do. That way I can look for tracks in the middle in case. And I know the other neighbor hadn't been able to get that because they were still busy on the bank. I holler back and forth to them, ask if they found anything. They've not. Obviously, none of us had. We all kind of knew at that point she was not in there. There was also, I think we would have spotted any signs of animal things. I think there was like one bear track maybe, but it was older. It wasn't fresh. And I mean like one paw, like, and not fresh. So, but not, it'd been there before the rain, so it wasn't. Um, anyway, I make my way back to the start of Ben Hill. By this point, other neighbors are starting to flood in. Sorry. I had to take a small break. Anyway, the glare is real. So, like I said, I know that some are thought of and missed and cared for. And I know the community wants her home. And Candace definitely does, And I don't think Candace had anything to do with this. I don't think the boys had anything to do with this. And me personally, I think she was taken. By who? I don't know. I don't think it was animal related or anything, or I'm quite positive we would have all found tracks and obvious signs. But like I said at the beginning of this, had you 2 seconds before that day, before the calls for summer started coming off that hill, ever asked me if our children could be taken from us on Candace's property or the one we were on until just a short few days ago, I would have laughed. Because on our particular properties, and I think I missed this point earlier and got a little distracted, the one connected to Candace, fully connected, had never even seen Summer. And there's nothing but, like a little bit between them, but they had never laid eyes on Summer. Didn't know what she looked like. And they're good people. I mean, it's not anything like that. It's just that that's how it works. Are starting to flood in. Sorry. I had to take a small break. Anyway, the glare is real. So, like I said, I know that Summer's thought of and missed and cared for. And I know the community wants her home. And Candace definitely does, And I don't think Candace had anything to do with this. I don't think the boys had anything to do with this. And me personally, I think she was taken. By who? I don't know. I don't think it was animal related or anything, or I'm quite positive we would have all found tracks and obvious signs. But like I said at the beginning of this, had you 2 seconds before that day, before the calls for summer started coming off that hill, ever asked me if our children could be taken from us on Candace's property or the one we were on until just a short few days ago, I would have laughed. Because on our particular properties, and I think I missed this point earlier and got a little distracted, the one connected to Candace, fully connected, had never even seen Summer. And there's nothing but, like a little bit between them, but they had never laid eyes on Summer. Didn't know what she looked like. And they're good people. I mean, it's not anything like that. It's just that that's how it works around there. And how different the views and the sounds and things are. And that's something else I need to touch on. So what I'm going to tell you next, about the sounds and why it is that other neighbors that were outside around the same time I was, or that the scream happened, didn't seem to hear it, but we heard it, is because of the way these properties are shaped and the road is shaped and the hollow itself is, and how drastically different it is from each property to each property. But for weeks, as these searches went on, or at night when it got quieter, or when the drones and the helicopters finally stopped, I sat there as the foliage changed and keeping watch over my own daughter and my kid, and that I was doing so was absolutely used to further abuse myself and these children, and to commit the last weeks of abuse against us. The Summer situation was absolutely used to manipulate, hide things from us, and to abuse us, which is pretty wild in normal people's lives. Um, but kept a watch over these two, especially because I mean she's the last little girl in there. Plus, the time the boys were still in there. Uh, there's other things close that I'm not gonna name because even though some of these groups don't have a problem like with property maps coming out and this coming out, and maybe don't realize sometimes that it could be leading predators right back in, or especially with it being common knowledge that the very thing that makes this community is also maybe its vulnerabilities like cell phone service, cop time, so posting or sharing some of the property stuff, or I know there's been a lot of people since the beginning going real life. We've had more than a few, and just not long before we got there. I mean, we had people that were probably mistaken. I don't know, but they were in there screaming at other neighbors going through cancer treatment, just like I was, pulled in for no reason. And we're screaming at them, and then combined are calling my daughter a freak. And I mean, you just don't understand. And Bigfoot hunters and psychics fighting in the middle of the road and the wildness. So had a perpetrator come back in, we don't know. And it would have been hard to tell with all the real life people coming in there. It just added more confusion once the road was opened back up. And chaos for all of us, and definitely kept myself on point. No sleep, cancer. I mean, it was some of the most difficult weeks of my life, and it weighs heavy. This was, and there's past tense, and I'm sorry. This is a child we know personally. When I've changed her diapers and fed her, um, just seen her in person just a day or two before. Um, and as you can imagine, my children did not take it well, especially my daughter, and she's sensitive. Anyway, and knowing that our abuser used that knowledge against her is one of the last things he tormented her with personally. Was about summer and how she felt about it and did things to make sure. But we went through weeks of my youngest being scared and having all kinds of and she still is very sensitive to it, obviously. And it took a toll on her, and then what was done recently has again. Anyway, with property sounds, sorry. Um, the neighbors connected. And here's the thing: I asked for somebody to help me run testing or something because all these nights that I walked this bank and these hills in the woods and make sure sounds and how I was hearing things, especially as the foliage changed, because it does change and pick up differently during different seasons. I was trying to make sure is all the foliage that it hadn't changed it too much. So anyway, the pieces kind of came together. I mean, I knew why, but I was just trying to have confirmation of that, and I'd asked for people to help me figure out how to test that. Um, and until recently, so somebody did, and we kind of made sure that would happen before our final days at the property recently, and it's on videotape. It's been recorded. That I'm not wrong. I wasn't wrong from the beginning. But um, the reasons why the sound was picked up by us, and we heard the scream, but Candace couldn't. The other neighbors couldn't, but we could hear it clear as day. Hold on. And let me explain here that I'm the other neighbor that had already been looking, or basically the only two neighbors that know what summer looked like. Um, the other neighbor that joins Candace and them, even though they're connected, whereas her and I really aren't, nor is the other one, but he has visual too, and because the kids play on that, so it's more clear than. And because, Candace and I talk to them and they are out in a place where, I mean, like, they all live, everybody looks like, so that's why, and they're some of the best neighbors you ever want, guys. I don't care what the media tells you, uh, everybody in there ain't crazy, most people are good, like, I mean, seriously, like, there's retired veterans, there's ex-police, like, there's, I mean, like, hospital workers, and there's only, like, 11 or 12 of us in there, right? And, like, I mean, like, there's not what it's being made out to be. Like, everybody's pretty quiet. We were the youngest, but had the least traffic of anybody. And I mean this sincerely. Like, not even my family came there. Which part of that was what we were going through separately there. But also I just don't like visitors either. Kind of a homebody, but it was definitely part of the abuse I've been through there, and that they've been through there for a decade. So we had the least visitors of anybody, even though we were the youngest. But any neighbor in there, if you ask them something's gonna have your back. Midnight, noon, didn't matter. Like, these are good people. So anyway, and hardworking people. And postal workers in there. I mean, you name it, it's not what you think it is. Like, out of just like 12, school worker. I mean, it's not what you think it is. So anyway, um, so I'm on my way, like I said, back to the start of Hill at where it meets the main road, and I think the third car's coming in, police car. It's an SUV, whatever it was, and I stopped and was like, I heard a scream, whatever. And they said, okay, take a note. Everything's going so quick, moving so fast. But other neighbors are coming in, and they ask us and other ones, what she looks like. We describe her. We tell them where we've already searched. Most of those neighbors knew about, tracks as well, so try to keep that down. So then things start just obviously going from there. And yeah, I think it best that I don't speak really on the things after that period, or um, just because of just I think the main events right there in those first few moments and hours are what matter the most. Um, there's nothing really afterwards that, um, because most of it pertains to, search crews and, obviously the main parts of every, and what follows after a situation like this. I can tell you that some of us had a hard time, because we had already, like, spread the word. The word was out, and everything was kind of searched before even, like, we all knew the properties well enough to know where. And to look at all of ours quickly enough to know that, and we all get it, we understand. But yeah, I mean, there were things, like the tree cutters came back in and stuff like starting the next morning, and for almost the entire time period, even search crews and stuff were in there. Mail was cut out though, and trash was cut out for 10, 12 days, something like that. The tree crew started back the next morning though, and we all kind of worried if they were like, accidentally destroying evidence or moving scents or things like that, and we didn't really understand. I don't think we still do as a community. Um, there were things with that made us uncomfortable, including at one point, like, I went down and for like the third time. Now, mind you, we all had to show ID to get in and out of there for weeks. You weren't coming and going unless you had. And for the most part, you weren't coming or going anyway because you were on property, with search crews and teams and dogs came through to search the houses and buildings and the properties. And I mean, it was literally one crew after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. And I mean that sincerely, day in and day out for weeks and weeks, plus the helicopter overhead and the drones. And it was, but these tree crews were in there. I think the number of them had gone down quite a bit. Um, but they had finally started on this piece of property and in the right of way at a point, and we noticed weird stuff. So I was sitting down once again to remind him that wood needed to be left laying, and there were some weird questions like, "How old's your daughter?" and then cutting in on a spot that had already been cut that didn't make sense to me, and then right behind the question about my daughter's age, I felt uncomfortable. Could have just been sensitive to subject. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Right behind it was another guy that joked about how they could take off with and be gone. Not someone in particular, but how that job would be perfect for something like that. I was like, maybe the guy just has no filter. I don't know. Like, that's real inappropriate. But it wasn't. I think that same day they asked them to leave from in there, and there was some issues that they stopped letting them in. So anyway, but I'm not sure that and I'm just saying that that's seems to be how that transpired because I complained, not even sorry. So anyway, other than that, I'm not really gonna say much. Otherwise, I have watched. I know that part of the thing is, like Candace not crying, not doing whatever, and I don't think it would let y'all. I've seen her in person. I talked to her. Just talked to her last night or this morning. Can't remember which. It was one or the other though. But I mean, she was crying then. She really does sincerely want somewhere found, and I don't think it would matter whether she was crying or not. I think everybody would eat her alive. I understand how the optics look. I understand how I get it. I get it just like you all do, and I understand part of the issue. Like at first was the past tense language. Before it was even heard out from y'all. I mean, like first night I heard it, and it didn't bother me because I think that what people who live in maybe the suburbs are easier lives, they're kind of projecting. But when you live the lives of people like this, or have gone through some of the things or had the past that Candace and things have had, or like us, I mean, you learn how to, and sometimes maybe you seem a little, it's more reality based than, and so I think somewhere you already think the worst, or you think, or it's hard to have hope when you've lived a hard life. Or maybe as parents, even though it's hard for some of us to admit openly and in public, it's as a parent, which do you hope for? Right? I mean, you don't want either, obviously. You don't want either. Your best case, like you hope all those days, right? You hope that it's just got mad, wandered off, or broke a leg, or stuck, or something, right? That's your best case. But then if they're taken, I mean, let's be real, these people don't take these children to Disney World, guys. And they're either kept and tormented, or they're tormented and it's over. And as people who've lived harder lives, I don't fault them for using past tense. And I know they still have hope. I know Candace does. I know we all do. And I know she cries for that baby. And I know she wants her home. Just like I know she misses her sons. So, anyway, I will be back. And I'm trying to do this in a way that doesn't bother my other neighbors. So all I'm going to say is that one neighbor, despite being closer in a way, can only hear what's coming off the left side of Candace's top of her hill on one side of it. The day I went and visited, the boys were still there. Some of the last days they were there. And they were, like screaming, like playing, full out playing, very loudly, very loudly. I can hear them clear as a bell at my house, at the house and cabin, and I can hear them all the way down the road. And then you get to that property, because I was visiting for another reason with this particular neighbor, and they made it a point to say some stuff like, "Well, we've not heard the boys in weeks, are they still over?" And I'm like, 2 seconds ago, like they were screaming as we pulled in. Y'all didn't hear? Nope, couldn't hear them. But while on this particular property, like banging or something was happening on the left side, you hear clear as a bell on these people. So they're only able to hear what's on the left side and top in one area coming down. They can't hear what I hear on ours. Candace can't hear the screams, and she can't hear me scream from the bottom area where, if somewhere had been snatched, taken, muffled, let go, like at the bottom driveway areas, she couldn't have heard that. There's a way that their bank does in the hollow carries that she couldn't hear me. She's not going to hear that scream. And then there were several incidents that were in between these that helped me figure out, and I don't really want to say much about them, just because they would be identifying enough, and part of that's public record to show which properties were what and which people heard what and things. But there were things that happened, including like a police report I had to make. And then I heard gunshots in one area, but other people can hear it. And we had a trespasser one night, but nobody, and other things happening. And so that right there told me, because certain people can hear certain things, to not spot that. So we tested the theory, right? And had children scream just a few days ago in the same spot. As we were in the cabin in the same spots, with the bed still there before I packed it up and moved it, and all of the things still in the same place, and almost the same amount of foliage. And as summer's winding down, summer started off, so it's more like it was. So either way, kind of proved that there's a reason why we could hear it, but why Candace could not, and why other neighbors could not, but thought they should have. And but we've all realized now why that is. Which we knew that on this particular piece of property, it kind of picks up everybody's in the entire road anyway, just at different ways. Plus, this particular piece here that we were on until just a few days ago, also picks up literally, like, there's this one cow that drives me insane. It was like it was in the cabin doorway, but it's all the way out on the main road near the end of Simpson Loop, on the very tail end of it. But it sounds like it's right. So I can also hear noise just like that from the main road. It depends on what, but that particular piece that we were on until just a few days ago kind of is, if you wanted to be the neighbor from Bewitched, that's the property for you. That's all I'm saying. But regardless, there was a very real reason, several of them, why it is that we heard and nobody else did, and maybe why people doubt, or maybe why I wasn't taken as seriously, because everybody's like, well, other neighbors didn't. That's all I can say is, what we heard was not an animal. It's not a kick dog.
Okay, guys. I think that's sort of the bulk of what she said. If anyone hasn't watched the whole thing, it's on True Crime Commentaries page, and this Jodie Sue Brown has it on her Facebook page apparently. So you can watch the full 3 hours of it over there. I don't know. Like, I feel like she genuinely believes what she's saying. Like, but is it because she's so close to the Welleses, or was so close to the Welleses, that she doesn't see things the way others see them. I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted right now. Sorry, I got the coughs again. Yeah, I feel a bit like, and it's not just because she's saying Candace had nothing to do with it, but did you notice she said she didn't feel that Candace had anything to do with it, and she said firmly, I don't think the boys had anything to do with it. But she didn't say Donald, and she didn't say Grandis. Sorry, guys, I need to drink. And it's not just all about Candace and where she was on the hill and all the rest of it. Where was Grandma? You know, that's the way I do. I've got a pit right in the bottom of my tummy, and I don't know if it's a defensive pit because of the amount of respect I do not have for Candace and Don and Grandis. And this lady's sort of saying like they're innocent. I don't know if that's the pit in my tummy or what. I'm going to have to decompress about it and try and sort out my own emotions, I think. But I don't think in her point of view, I think she believes what she's saying. Whether it's 100% fact or not, I don't know. But whatever it is, I do believe she thinks. I don't know. But she's taken 3 hours out of her life to explain everything. So, you know, I don't know, guys. Loyalty or not, would you straight up lie if you thought your friend had anything to do with a missing child? She is putting herself at risk to do so. She'd have to be a complete effing idiot. Yeah, exactly. So someone asked a question back in the chat about how this lady said she was trapped up there. From my take on her situation, she was in an abusive relationship when she lived as the neighbour to Candace. And since Summer has gone missing, she has left Ben Hill Road with her children and is living elsewhere. And that's why she's come out with this video now, because she's away from the area and feels more comfortable to say what she thinks and to explain. It sounded a little bit like she resented the fact that people didn't believe that she heard the scream as well, like she was a bit defensive about that, and that she was lying about hearing a scream or Summer scream. I don't know. I don't think she's lying about the way she thinks. But if it's, you know, I've got the other side of my bipolar brain thinking that's just a descriptive term. I'm not really bipolar, although my hubby might think I am sometimes. Anyway, the other side of my brain is sort of where Libby's at. Like, she's put herself in a position by coming out and saying this. And like in one sentence, she says, oh, you know, I'm not her friend. Like, we don't. And then in the next sentence, oh, I'd watch your kids sometimes. I don't know. I'm going to have to rewatch bits of it again, guys. Yeah, I didn't get the whole thing. Yeah, timestamp. It'd be good if she timestamped. Okay, I'm going to talk about this for this long and then that for that long. I actually got a bit of critical advice about that yesterday. On my live stream from yesterday, someone put a comment in about timestamps that'd be useful for when you start actually talking about the topic in the thumbnail. And like I read it with attitude, and I was like, really, girl? You know? I got a little bit aggravated, and I thought, and like most of the time with troll comments, I just scroll on by. I don't even delete half of them. Like if that's the way you want to be, you're making yourself look like a troll for the world to see, dude. So keep on doing that. But that's part of it. If they're really aggressive and really, really horrible, I will delete them. But I just think more people need to take notice of the negative, horrible comments to be wary of that user as well. It might help other creators, because I look at other comments, and if I see nasty ones, I'll try and, put a little screenshot on my head of these nasty people, so you're more aware. Yeah, it was just, you could just hear the tone in this comment about, timestamps would be useful. And I thought, oh my God. But anyway, getting back to, I understand she's not been well and all that too. I just find it hard that someone can really think that they're 100% not involved. That's hard for my brain to understand. Anyway, we need to start working out a plan, guys, of making a noise and get together and work out. I think we should hone in with John Walsh and Dr. Phil and get some communication out in our YouTube world about a gathering at Hawkins County Police Department with banners and bullhorns. Did you see at the front of Brian Laundrie's house the amount of people on YouTube that wanted to go and strangle the girl with the bullhorn? We need one of those, because people were going to do anything to quieten that woman down. Like, we literally need noise. What?
Yeah.
Huh?
I can find you.
I can't. Sorry. The little one's talking to me. Yeah. Well, Sky Z, you're not a dork. Uprising. Since I played that video of Banfields the other day, I'd never come across John Walsh before. So I'm also now a huge John Walsh fan, because we don't get America's Most Wanted in Australia. I've never seen him before. But that guy, if I could, he said everything in the tone, every word that I would like to say about this case, he said it. And I was just like, damn, you are so awesome. I loved it. Which one, Libby? The sarcastic one. Oh, yeah, she was a real Karen. That's exactly what she was. She was horrible to me. I was so upset. Anyway, I did reply to her. And then someone give me, you have to go and have a look at it, guys. Seriously. One of our subs give me a little clap, and it's like, well, now she knows. And I was like, yes. I'm not going to have a big bitch fest in me video comments, but I don't have to sit back and say nothing either. Your little one that just spoke to you, dear. Oh, yes, she's been my little research assistant, Libby, during these school holidays. She's been amazing. I've got her doing little research jobs, and she's really, really good. So when my time comes I might have someone to pass it over to. She spotted before I seen it on YouTube yesterday about the playlists on Spotify and how his Instagram keeps changing with different things. So, yeah, like I don't let her do any of the gory stuff, but research and things like that with social media, she's really on it. She's a clever little girl. Yeah, we don't get all them sorts of shows. I think I was saying that yesterday, Shannon, how we used to have Australia's Most Wanted years and years ago, but they took it off. But it captured lots and lots of wanted people. I don't know why they ever stopped it. Yeah, she is. She's a little sweetie. And she's really good with notice and things, and so quick. If you could see her operate a device, it's like, how on earth do you do that so quickly? And with one thumb, she can have 3 screens going at the same time. I'm like, what? I think she is too, but she seemed like a very traumatized lady. Therefore, I feel like she is prone to shutting out traumatic experiences, blacking out. Yeah, she's obviously been through hell and back, and kudos for her for changing her situation, because as a survivor, you know how really, really hard it is, and not everyone can do it. Yeah, Melly, I know Ziggy. That's how I first got into trouble. Oh my God. I'll never, ever forget Ziggy now. Because Ziggy had posted that post when she let out the stuff about the CPS report thing, whatever it was. And because it was only early evening here in Australia, because Millie's hasn't been around in our channel for weeks, I'm just going to explain it because it is a bit funny. I thought, oh my God, and I'd watched it all, so I knew there wasn't any really, really horrible stuff in what Ziggy put out. So I streamed her video, didn't I? During the night, which is, yeah. And then the next day, the whole world exploded with haters, and we shouldn't have done that. And well, I didn't do it. I mean, I did do it because I restreamed it. But so Ziggy, who is Ziggy? Ziggy has her channel called Ziggy, and that's who I run with that story about the CPS findings. But even with that, there's been no word on that emergency court hearing for Donald's gag order that he broke. I had to go back and read. Sorry, I've got to go back up. Comment a couple of times to understand. Then I was like, what? Yeah, she's funny. And she copped so much. No, Millie, I'm not saying that. I copped it because people were attacking Ziggy, and then I got attacked because, you know, it was so wrong what we done streaming what CPS found and why they took the kids and da-di-da-di-da. No, she was fine. She didn't copyright me. But there was a lot of hate for putting it out there. And my interpretation of it was that there was nothing really said in that hasn't already been discussed by every single YouTuber, but worse, you know. So anyway, but the biggest thing that got on my goat was, oh, but the boys are going to grow up and see that. Like, how horrific for them. And I'm like, really? So the boys aren't going to go and see the psychics ones as well? Give me a break. Hang on, guys. I have to mute for a sec. Okay, guys, I have to get off because I have family home and I might come back on a bit later because all of a sudden it's really noisy here. Yeah, I know, Millie, the boys did live it. But I'll be back in a little while, guys, if you're still awake. If not, I'll catch you tomorrow. And we can digest what we watched this Savo. And thank you so much, everyone, for coming in. And please subscribe if you're new and hit the like and share. That would be fabulous. And I'll see you all later. Bye. Thanks, Josie. Thanks, Miss Justice and our mods. See you all tomorrow or a bit later.